Welcome to Lothar's Guitar School and today's tutorial on jazz improvisation. And the question, should we use scales or arpeggios? Should we base the solo on the modes or on the chords? I use the example of Autumn Leaves, and we play it in the key of G, respectively E minor. And before we proceed, you should make sure you're familiar with the 6 positions of the G major scale. And here we go. Second position. Fourth position. Seventh position. Ninth position. Twelfth position. Now, since you know how to play G major in 5 different positions, you can play all the different modes based on the G major key. So let's look at our song Autumn Leaves now. So the first chord in Autumn Leaves is A minor 7. And we would play Dorian over it, which is nothing but the G major scale starting from the second note. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. So you see a little note in parentheses, that's the F sharp, which is the so-called avoid note, which doesn't mean you can't play it, but it should not be a note that you play on a heavy beat. The second scale is the Mixolydian, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. Nothing but the G major scale starting from the 5th note. Avoid note here is the G, which creates the sus4 and would be very dissonant with the major third. Third one is just the G major scale. Same thing here, sus4 should be avoided. C major 7, 4th degree on G major is C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. Has no avoid note. The F sharp is actually very typical for the Lydian mode. Locrian mode starts on the 7th note of G major. F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. And the G creates with the F sharp a strong dissonant, a flat 9 or a minor 2nd, and should be avoided on a heavy beat. The B7 flat 9 calls for harmonic minor 5 of the 5th degree, going to the E minor, calling for E minor harmonic. But if you look at the scale, it's nothing but a G major scale with the D, which would be in the G major scale raised to a D sharp. So it's B, C, D sharp, E, F sharp, G, A. And without it raised, it would be the Phrygian mode, and we just have to raise the minor third to a major third, and alas, you have the harmonic minor 5 scale. And the last one is the relative minor to G, where we end up E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D. At the C, the minor 6th or flat 13 is the avoid note. And that's it. Those are the scales you can all derive from G major within Autumn Leaves. And now, since you know which scale to play on which chord, you can start creating a solo. But you have to use melodies, lines. You have to create lines from it. Well, let's start and try one. from here on, you can generate lines, melodies, and from scales, that's one possibility of creating solos. That's the well-known method, like at Berklee College, that is taught. But there are other ways of creating melodies, solos, by using arpeggios. And that's the next exercise we want to look at. So in this exercise, we played the 4-part chords as arpeggios, the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. And this is a method that was taught by the important teacher, Charlie Banokos, who had students like Michael Brecker and Mike Stern. And I had the privilege of studying a few lessons with Mike Stern, and he showed me some of the exercises that he did with Charlie Banokos. So the same way you have to learn the G major scale all over the fingerboard if you want to play scales, you have to know all your chords all over the fingerboards, up and down from any note. So here's another exercise. Up from the root. Down from the root. Alternating up and down from the root. Alternating down and up from the root. And so forth. Now up from the third, and then the same thing up from the fifth, and then the same thing up from the seventh. So you see, the possibilities are almost endless how to play arpeggiated chords all over the guitar. But you don't want to stop here. The beauty of this method is that you can use approach notes. Approach notes are being played on the weak up beats, and the down beats, the strong beats, the chord tones are played. And you can use diatonic approach notes, and you'll see some of the lines generated will look just like our modal scales. But you can also use approach notes, notes that are outside the key. But nevertheless, it'll sound right, because whenever you hit a downbeat, a strong beat, the chord tone is sounded. So here's an exercise that starts first with the chord tones, then with diatonic approach notes, and finally with chromatic approach notes. Chord tones up from the root. Chord tones down from the root. Diatonic approach from below. Diatonic approach from below, chord tones down. diatonic approach from above. Diatonic approach from above, chord tones down. Chromatic approach from below. Chromatic approach from below, chord tones down. Chromatic approach from above. Chromatic approach from above, chord tones down. So this is an exercise, and the same way you had to create melodies from the G major scale, you have to make and create interesting ideas from the arpeggios. Let's try some. And there's beauty in both methods, and it's your turn now to put them all together. This was a tutorial on jazz improvisation and the question when to use scales and when to use arpeggios. I hope you know better now when to base your solo on the modes and when to use the chords. Thanks for watching Lothar's Guitar School. I hope to see you soon again. Take care, goodbye, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. Bye-bye.